Hello, guys, and welcome to episode 7 of What an Absolute Fit Show. It's been a couple of weeks. I've not really been able to record a podcast. I've been really, really busy. And to be honest with you, not an awful lot sprang to mind that I really wanted to talk about. So I thought instead of putting out just random crap, I'd wait until something informative and something interesting came up. So I got the opportunity to get on the podcast with Maddi. I don't really know Maddi that well. I say hello to her in the gym, but I have seen her like working her ass off prepping for her physique competitions that she entered into last month. And she came second in the first one that she did, and she came first in the one that she did the week later. And I wanted to get her on because I wanted to talk to her about the highs and the lows of prep and how it changes your life and what you have to go through. It's not something that I've not really turned my gaze to that side of the industry before. I've always kind of written it off, and never really wanted to get into that sort of side of it. So for me, it's really, really interesting to find out her perspective and to actually talk to somebody who's done it. It was the first time that she's done it, and she's just an awesome person to talk to. So I really hope you enjoy it. I know I enjoyed recording it. See you on the other side. Maddie,
Yeah,
tell me your story. Tell me what first got you into a gym.
so I first started coming to the gym because I was an overweight 16-year-old. You know, like when you go through the phase of you've
Yeah,
just left school, you've started your first office job, and
yeah,
you've put on a load of weight. So
okay.
I thought, God, I need to do something about that.
Yeah, yeah,
So I obviously started off like every girl does, as a cardio bunny in the
yeah,
gym, literally smashing cardio, going spin classes, things like that.
yeah,
And I started off at like an everybody gym, so it was like a casual gym.
yeah,
And they did classes like body pump. I don't know if you've heard of it.
yeah,
It's like Les Mills.
yeah.
So I started doing that, and I thought, oh, this weight training is pretty good. This. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, well, let's start doing more of that. So then I started off with Tom, you know, the old PT that
Yeah,
used to PT area, and I was doing that like twice a week. And then COVID hit, and it was like a massive thing for everyone. Wasn't it? Like, you know,
yeah,
when you just started to get into something, and
yeah.
then it all goes to pot. It was literally like that.
Did you do anything during lockdown?
Yeah, so I bought myself like a little weight kit from like I think it was Facebook Marketplace, and it was just like the dead simplistic, like a barbell and then like 50 kilogram worth of weight. So I was doing like lockdown workouts in the
Yeah,
garden because it was sunny, the weather was dead nice, but it just obviously isn't the same as being in a gym,
no,
is it?
no. So after lockdown, you're back in the gym. What were you doing?
Well, I got spiked in like September
Okay,
time. Like it was like towards the end of lockdown, and I ended up getting spiked in Nantwich somewhere in a pub.
okay.
So I was coming to the gym as it was, and obviously, like when you're like 20, you're going out with your mates every weekend, getting
Yeah,
drunk, whatever. So I thought I may as well just start doing something worthwhile in the
okay,
gym. So
okay.
I thought I need something to work towards, keep my mind occupied, and
Yeah,
that. So then I continued working with Tom, but I was only training legs at the time with Tom,
yeah,
like every girl
yeah,
does.
yeah,
And then I got into like upper body working out, and I just fell in love with it.
yeah.
And then it was one of them that was like, I need to now put this towards something
Hmm.
and make it worthwhile doing it, because what's the point in just training with no idea?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you see people that come to the gym and they're doing their thing or whatever, but a lot of people just go through the motions, don't
Yeah,
they? Yeah, I'm not saying that you need to have something to work towards and that you
yeah,
can't just come and train for fitness or, to for a healthier,
yeah,
to just, to be healthier. But sometimes it gives you that little bit of extra,
yeah,
doesn't it, if you're going to be a bit
yeah.
more competitive.
And
I
you
mean,
think as well, like, everything goes into it, like your food. You can't just be lifting weights in the gym and expect a
yeah,
miracle.
exactly.
Like, I obviously wasn't eating the right stuff. I was still drinking, which obviously when
Yeah,
you've got to have balance in your life,
yeah,
haven't you? But it was just wasn't doing what I needed to do to look like how I wanted to look, because
Okay.
you see it all on Instagram and then you're thinking, oh, I'd like to look like that.
Yeah.
But you think just come in the gym 5 times a week, it isn't enough.
No. Right. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. Why I've got you on the pod in the first place, right? What made you want to go and do a physique comp?
I couldn't actually tell you what the turning point was.
Okay.
I was just like, oh, I followed this girl on Instagram for ages, so this probably actually was the trigger point.
Yeah.
And I followed this girl for ages, and I seen that she had a coach, and I was looking at her and I was thinking, I want to do that. Like, it looks dead fun, like, obviously, because it's all glamorized on Instagram.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to do it. So I messaged my coach who I've got now. I've been with him for like 2 years now.
Okay, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I want to get into this.
Yeah. Yeah. And then...
So Instagram.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's quite a big decision.
Yeah.
Because you have to change your lifestyle. I mean, I'm coming in from this. Like, one of the reasons that I really wanted to get you on to the podcast is because I sort of saw you. Like, we haven't really spoken that much, have we? Do you know? We don't know each other. We're not like Bezzy buds or anything like that. We say hello to each other in the gym and stuff. And I have really it's something that I've not actively tried to stay away from that part of the industry.
Yeah.
But it's a part of the industry that I've never really sort of dipped my little toe into. I've never really got into. So I'm interested myself to figure out and find out off you what it's like training to do that, nutrition, what it does to your body, what it did to your sort of like how you coped with the lifestyle change mentally, what it's actually like in the comp and after as well.
I feel like when I first started going into it though, I was very naive. Like, I first started with my coach and I thought I was big and I had loads of muscle.
Okay.
And it was like, no, you need to go through a building phase.
Yeah.
Like, he was like, I need to strip all the fat off that you've got for now. So for like the first like 4 or 5 months I was being coached, it was just stripping down all the fat that I had, seeing what I had underneath, and then going from there and building and building and building. Okay. So I never thought that, like, I was really naive when I went into it, thinking that I could compete straight away and go in and be like, oh yeah, 20 weeks of a diet, it's nothing. But there's so much more to it. I
can imagine. What's the hardest part?
I've got to say steps. I actually hate getting my steps in.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I'll weigh every meal out to the gram, everything like that is fine. Cardio, I'm fine with that. I'd rather go on the Stairmaster for 3 hours than go and do my steps.
Do you still... I mean, for me, like, if I was going to ever do anything like that, I think the steps for me would be one of the most enjoyable parts of it, because I just, stick a podcast in or an audiobook or something and just walk.
When, like,
or is it...
you've got an office job and it's just so hard because you're obviously working all day, and then you're thinking your life is planned to the millisecond when you're on prep, because you can't mess up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I'd be able to do that. Like, for me, I think my life is so... I can't prep to that much, like you said before, like you weigh out your food and stuff. Do you still do that now?
Yeah. So post? Like, now I'm still on a diet plan and everything.
Yeah.
Like, everything's still exactly the same way it was
before
prep, really. Because this is the bit that people don't really understand and they don't really see. It's like, your off season is so important.
Yeah.
It's probably more important than your prep, because that's the time where you need to be weighing everything out, eating every single meal, making sure every single box is ticked, training to failure properly with your intensity and everything like that, because that's where you're building what you're going to try and strip off.
Was it difficult, you said, about training correctly and training to that failure correctly? Like, I'm right in thinking your coach is an online coach.
Yeah, he's an online coach. Yeah.
So when you're training on your own in the gym, do you often find it difficult to train to failure and to really put in the, is there ever days when you're just like, oh, I can't be arsed with this? Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously, if you had your coach with you, they would be like, yeah, you can be arsed with it. Yeah.
It's a difficult one, because, like, in the back of your mind, sometimes you're like, oh, I really can't be bothered with this today. But you have to snap out of it, because you've got to think, if I'm not putting in the work, whoever I'm against is putting in the work.
Okay.
And it's like a kind of mental thing. But, like, my coach as well, he gets you to send you videos
so
of training to make
see
sure
the intensity
you can see
and
that
stuff.
you're doing it as well.
I think what I like from what you've sort of like told me already over the last sort of like 10 minutes or whatever, your coach seems to have you on a good thing, where he's like, one thing that I kind of see from that side of the industry, from like the physique side of the industry, is like, there's coaches and there's coaches. Some coaches will coach and then after the comp be like, right, nice one, like, just leave you with one body dysmorphia.
Literally.
Yeah.
Because like my honestly, like, he's the best coach there is, and I could not thank him enough for everything that he's done for me. Like, I had a complete breakdown after my second show, and I was like, I'm in a really, really bad way. And he's like, he sorted me out. Like, he knows, he ups my food for me, he knows what he's doing, he's been doing it years. Obviously he's seen this with so many other girls as well. And it's just having that honesty. I think if you're not honest with your coach, you're never going to get out what you need to. But he cares more about you than he does about money. And I think nowadays that's a
big thing.
Because everyone seems to be an online coach.
Yeah, all you got to do is place fifth in a bodybuilding comp, and then all of a sudden, like, you can coach that, online. Because a big thing for me, one thing that I always sort of looked at, and I was like, I don't think I really like that, is what happens after. What happens in the off season? Like, are you just left to your own devices to try and reverse diet yourself?
No,
whereas like from you, like, from what I've seen and from what we've spoke about, like, you're getting reverse dieted and you're bringing, like you said, it's an off season for you now. So obviously you're going to do another one.
Literally. Yeah. But I have seen like on Instagram and things like that, like, people have just been left to their own devices after a show, and it's not obviously gone the way that they need it to go. Because it is really, really hard seeing your body change.
Well, I'm assuming that you get down to that level of body fat percentage and you get, like, contest ready, and then all of a sudden you can't sustain that.
No, it's not sustainable at all. Like, there were days where, like, you just sit there and you think, like, obviously I brush my teeth every day because everyone does, but like, there were times where you have to hype yourself up for about 45 minutes to just go and brush your teeth.
Really?
Or like wash your hair. Washing your hair is one of the worst tasks when you're on prep, because it's just so much energy that you've not got to just get out there.
All right. I mean, that's really interesting. I mean, from my style of coaching, like, I obviously coach people for more performance rather than
so you're probably like, have some carbs, have a
like, most of the time I'm getting my guys either in maintenance or above maintenance, you know what I mean? Whereas you're going to be in a massive calorie deficit. What sort of advice would you give to anybody that was wanting to, just thinking about maybe dipping their toe in the water and maybe doing a show? What would you say? What would you like?
Get a coach that cares.
Yeah, okay,
100%.
cool. So do your research,
research a coach, because all these people who are out there living in Dubai and whatever else, doing it for Instagram, there is quite a toxic environment out there. So just do your research with your coach. Secondly, be mentally strong enough. Are you mentally strong enough to do this? Because there's a lot of people that come into it not realizing what it takes. Like, you do have to sacrifice things. There was times on prep, like, I prepped over Christmas, from New Year, my birthday, and it was like, at the point of 10 weeks out, you've not got the energy to go out anymore. Like, your mates are asking you, oh, come to the pub, do this, do that, and I was fine doing that 10 weeks before 10 weeks out, because I had the energy to sit there and, have like a Diet Coke and have a water and socialise, but it gets to the point where you've not got that anymore. So you need to be willing to sacrifice as well.
Sacrifice a lot, and sacrifice, like, a lot of good times and stuff. I mean, I'll just ask you right out, was it worth it?
100%.
Was it?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, like, people were asking me before I'd competed first, it was like, oh, you're going to do it again.
I asked you before you competed, I asked you, was it worth it? And you said no.
Because at the time I was dying.
Yeah, I know, exactly. You were in that space then, because I thought to myself, like, the way that, like, I think I spoke to you maybe when you were 6 weeks out. And we had more of an in-depth sort of conversation about it then.
Well, you're lucky you can't be at 6 weeks out, because after that point, no one was
well,
getting a
I know, well, I just sort of saw you and glanced at you. I was like, oh, yeah, and just see you in a bit. But, you were, I was like, I think the only reason that she's still going is because she's come this far.
Yeah, and I feel like that was one of the things that is in the back of your head. You're like,
why give up now?
Yeah, I'm never one to give up on anything. Like, I will always go through with something that I've said I'm going to do. And in the back of my mind, it did get really, really hard. Like, I checked in with my coach on my birthday, and it was an in-person check-in, and he was like, we've still got quite a bit to strip off. And at that point, I was like 6 weeks out. So things just got hard from that point on. And
you're like, what am I supposed to do?
I was doing cardio twice a day on the Stairmaster twice a day, all my steps, food was low. And it's just mad, because you can't even have a conversation with people. People are trying to, like, talk to you in the gym. You're just like, please don't.
Especially, like, people that know that you're getting ready for do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're like, just don't talk to me, just leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. But a lot of people are probably going, you know, what's he doing? A lot of people are probably going, you know, talking to you and wanting to know what you're doing and wanting to know what's going on, and you're just like, just go away and let me train, and let me eat my little morsels of food and stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. Like my mum, I live with my mum and dad still.
Yeah.
And I'd be eating, and they'd try and speak to me while I was eating, and I used to just sit there, and I had to say to him, like, can you just not talk to me while I eat, because I need to enjoy.
Yeah.
It's a bit of broccoli, and I'm like, I need to enjoy it.
Yeah. What did your, being as obviously you're going to be in close quarters with your parents, still living with them, what were their sort of views on it?
Oh, my mum thought I was going to die.
Really?
Yeah. She was like, because obviously you do look like death. Yeah. Your face is so gone. You do look ill. You can see your bones and everything like that. And she said to me, she was like, I'm scared that one day I'm going to wake up and you're going to be dead. And I was like, you're so dramatic. Yeah. Like, it's not that deep.
Yeah.
But, like, they were really supportive, to be fair. Like, I had a really short fuse when I was, because you're starving, and it's like your main source of energy food, obviously, and you're just so depleted and everything's a challenge. And there was one day when I was in work and I forgot to bring my milk, and there was no milk in the fridge, and I didn't get to have my breakfast until like 12:30. And that whole morning people tried talking to me. I was like, don't talk to me, just don't, because I'm on the verge of a breakdown. Like, I would just sit there and thought, I'm gonna cry in a minute.
Prepping for it, did it affect work?
It didn't affect work because I work from home.
Right, okay.
And I only have to go in the office like once or twice a week. So it's like them 2 days, they were the hardest days of the week, because it's like you've got to prep all your food and everything. And
then
you've
got to go and converse with people as well.
Yeah, literally. And you've been in the gym in the morning, then you're thinking, I've got to go again at night after work, and then I've got to go and get my steps in, and all this other stuff that you're just thinking, and it's going on in your mind. Yeah. But work, we're all right with it, and things like that.
Cool. I think you've got to have, like, from the sound of it, it sounds like you had a really good support network.
Yeah, I did.
And you've obviously got your head screwed on, like, the right way to know, like, you got yourself a good coach. Obviously, you researched it. You got somebody who knows what they're doing, and, like, somebody who is now going through that sort of, like, reverse diet. And,
like, don't get me wrong, there were times where I'd just sit there and cry.
Yeah.
Like, I banged my head one day, and it didn't hurt at all. Like, I just literally tapped my head on the wall. And I just had a complete breakdown. I was crying my eyes out, and then I was laughing. I was like, why am I sat here crying? And like, my mum just looked at me like, is she all right?
So let's actually go to so you did 2, right? Okay, so the first one, talk me through what it was like.
The weirdest experience is your tan.
Okay.
So I obviously didn't know what to expect. You get an email beforehand, and it says like what to bring with you or what to wear and everything. So it says like you can wear small underwear if you want.
Okay.
But then obviously you're thinking like, well, my bikini's so thin, like I don't want the lines. So I was thinking it was going to be like just you stood there on your own in a little tent and then you dry off and whatever. No, you're in there with a load of other girls and everyone's just completely naked and then you stood there in front of these fans just drying and everyone's got these hairnets on and you're all just stood there like, this is the weirdest experience in your life.
Yeah, because obviously these are the same ladies that you're competing against as well, right?
Yeah, but we were all first timers, so it was like everyone's first time as well. So
everybody's just shitting it in a tent naked,
literally everyone's
with a load of fake
tan
on.
These fans like, okay then.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like an experience.
It was an experience.
Right. Cool.
But my best mate came down with me the night before because it was in Birmingham.
Yeah.
And honestly, if she wasn't there, I think I'd have lost my head.
Yeah.
Like, we had a nightmare with the Airbnb and we had to end up panicking, booking a hotel. It was just, so it was a bit stressful the night before.
Already in that sort of, the stress of, you know, because a big thing for me, I don't know how you, like, felt about this, but stepping on stage near enough pretty much naked, right? And just having like a group of people like pretty much tear your physique apart.
Yeah, literally. So that, it is nerve-wracking. It was like I was backstage and I was fine and everything was fine. Like I was sending selfies to my coach, like having a great time. And then he was like, just keep asking when to go and pump up and everything. So I went and asked, and they were like, yeah, you're on in like 10 minutes. But it was raining on the day as well, and you had to walk to backstage through the outside of the building.
Right, okay.
So I'd ruined all the tan on my legs. So I'm stood there like, you need to fix your tan.
Yeah.
Everything was like, I was like, I'm panicking.
Yeah.
And they were like, you're on in 3 minutes, put your heels on. And that's when like it sank in that it was actually really happening, because I think up until that point, with everything that happened the night before and things like that, it just didn't feel like it was really happening.
Okay.
And like everyone was like, how are you feeling? Are you nervous? I was like, no, I'm fine. I feel like I just wasn't really thinking about it.
Yeah.
And then when they were like, put your number on, you've got 3 minutes and your heels, I was like, oh my god, this is really happening. Like, it's really happening.
Mate, I can imagine it's pretty shit.
It was
like at the start.
Like you just stood there then, and you can see everyone when you're backstage. Like you can see everyone in the crowd, and the lights are on, and everyone's waiting for you to walk out. But the second that I stepped foot out there, it was like I was a completely different person.
Really, just
like
overwhelmed with confidence.
Yeah, this confidence just came out, and it was like, who's she? Because it wasn't me. Like I suffer a bit with like anxiety and stuff like that. Like I'm not a very confident person. Never really.
Well, that's. If that is the case, then you getting on stage on your own, in front of all those people, like we said, just a bikini on, do you know what I mean? And for the first time, mate, that's pretty insane.
It was massive, like,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a massive thing. But I was just, because you like basically feel like you're dying up until peak week. Even peak week, it's not like everyone thinks peak week you're going to get so many carbs, it's going to be great. You don't actually get that much extra food. You really don't. Like, it's just a bit of like less cardio, things like that. But yeah, it was a wild experience, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Like, I got out there and I thought, this is for me, this. Like, I
really
found me calling in life.
Okay, that's cool. I mean, you must have really, really good discipline to do that. I mean, did it help that you placed on your first competition? Where did you place? Second.
Yeah.
Well
so
done.
Second for my first one. I was like, I was on the phone to my coach in the morning. And I was like, oh, I'm not expecting anything. I'll just turn up and it'll be all right. I'm not putting any pressure on myself. And then I got second, and I was like, what?
And then, was it the next week?
Yeah.
You went and did another one?
First
a little
place.
Bit more confidence and got first.
First place.
So that's probably got something to do with, I want to do this again.
Yeah.
Yeah?
It was just an unreal feeling. I literally got off stage and I was like, I'm doing it again.
Yeah.
I want to do it again.
Cool. So you'd go through all that, you're prepared to go through it all again?
Yeah.
Do it all again?
Yeah.
Cool.
It was a weird one though, like after my second show, because after my first one, obviously you eat a lot of crap that night and you wake up and you're so swollen and like you just look at yourself and you think, what the hell have I done?
Really? Well, because of eating all the food?
Yeah. The swelling that goes on in your face, I can't tell you how bad it is. You look like a puff of fish. You go from looking dead the day before to then looking like a puff of fish.
Yeah, because you just loaded up on carbs. Yeah. So in that week in between, like, what is the plan of action? Did your coach be like, right, okay, that was good? Like, what are you going to do in a week?
Well,
really,
I wanted to look better the second time, because in the first time I didn't really have that much time to pump up backstage and things, so I felt a bit like flat.
Okay.
But I feel like the extra carbs that I had on that Sunday night, they helped. But obviously, like, that's the second peak week then, so it's like I was running low days for a few days, and then it was more of like an intense carb up like 2 or 3 days before the show, and then obviously show day I had a bit more carbs in the week before as well, because you're trying to drain the water from you from what you're holding from the week before, but you have to get yourself back in condition from the stuff that you've ate before. You got to then get back in condition, maintain it and things like that.
So next season, do you think you'll do more than 2?
Yeah, 100%. I think next time I do it, so I'm going to take like 18 months of an off season, I think. Okay. Enjoy life a little bit. Yeah. Because it is restrictive, like I say, like I stuck to it so hard for 2 years. It wasn't just the 20 weeks of dieting. Yeah. There's a lot that you've got to sacrifice.
It is a lot for something that, like, you know, if you're not going to do it professionally and you're still going to keep your sort of like day job, like I tell a lot of my guys that they'll get pissed off if, you know, like if I've got somebody doing CrossFit or doing strong training or something, if they get like a little bit pissed off with something, I'm like, listen, like, you're doing this because it's fun. Yeah. Like, you want to do this. This is something you want to do. It's not paying your mortgage. No. It's not paying your rent. Okay. So until it becomes a point where it's paying your mortgage and paying your rent, then don't worry about it too much.
Yeah, you
You're
can
allowed.
stop at any point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So obviously you're doing it because you enjoy it, the whole process.
During prep, you do get to points where you're like, training's not enjoyable because you've got no energy and you're just so weak.
Yeah.
Like, you see all the weights that you were lifting when you had energy compared to what you're lifting when you don't.
Yeah.
And there were times where, like, you'd walk in the gym and think, I look like I don't even train. People must think of me and think she just looks skinny.
You reckon?
Yeah, I think one main thing as well, like when you said before, like, what would you say to someone thinking about doing it? Be prepared for people's comments, because just because you do bodybuilding, people think they can comment on your physique. Like, you wouldn't go up to someone who's overweight and go, you're overweight.
Right, yeah.
But when you're on prep, people tell you, like, you're dying, you don't look great, whatever else. Like, to the trained eye, obviously, it's one of them.
Yeah.
And even people trying to comment on what category they think you should be doing and things like that. And it's like, well, I'm paying a coach to tell me what he thinks.
Oh, mate,
so
don't get me started on that shit.
Yeah.
Right. It's a weird one, because I think due to social media, and everybody is a fucking coach these days.
Yeah.
I've discussed this, and not just in your side of the industry, but in mine as well. Like, doing a level 3 and then thinking you can just go off and start training people like you're at the same level as somebody who's got 12, 10, 8 years experience. It's just not going to happen.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and everybody in the gym thinks or everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's got their own style, and you're right, people do think they can just go out and say whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah. And when you're so depleted as well, it really does get to you.
Oh yeah, he'll play on your mind.
You've already got things in your mind like, I don't feel like I'm going to be lean enough, I don't think I'm going to be ready, and then people add comments to it.
Yeah.
So I think it was like 6 weeks out or 8 weeks out. So it was around that time, and I said to my coach, I was like, people making comments, like, I don't know what to do. And he was like, come off Instagram. So it was like 5 weeks out, I deleted Instagram. I was like, I'm coming off it.
Yeah.
That helped massively. I can't actually tell you how much that helped.
Really?
Just the toxicness of getting Instagram gone, comparing yourself to people, just checking up on it every single day. So I got rid of that, and my mind felt clear. And you have more time as well. You don't understand how much time you sit there scrolling. And when you're on prep, obviously everything's planned out to the millisecond.
Yeah.
So you have more time and things like that. And he said to me as well, he said, go into the gym, wear baggy clothes. He said, wear your joggers, wear a massive jumper or a t-shirt.
You know what? It's weird you should say it, because I did notice, like, the more into your prep that you got, the more you sort of like covered yourself up, the quieter you were, the more you were just like, right, I'm just going to get into the corner, I'm just going to get my work done, I'm going.
Yeah.
There was less chatting at the reception desk. There was less chatting to people. It was sort of like, you're in, training, out.
Yeah. I used to feel guilty as well about, like, agreeing to plans that I didn't really want to go to, or like standing there and having a conversation that I didn't really want to be involved in. And then it got to prep, and I was just like, I don't want to be here right now. I'm gonna go and train.
Yeah, fair enough. You got to be selfish.
Yeah.
You can't please everybody. Like, you're doing this for you.
Yeah.
You know. So.
I mean, there were times where, like, I did stand there and just have a little cry on the Stairmaster.
Yeah.
And you just pull yourself back together. You're like, get a grip.
Yeah.
You can do this. You've got it. You've come this far.
Yeah.
But yeah, one main thing is, don't listen to people's opinions on what you look like, how far ahead they think you are, what category they think you should be doing, because they do not know.
Yeah. And
even
if they did know, it's none of their fucking business anyway. That's between you and your coach.
Exactly. And it made me laugh, because a few people had said to me, they're like, oh, why are you not doing bikini? And bikini's obviously like a lower grade class in terms of like muscle mass, like toned figures, a bit more muscle and things like that. But I knew in my head, and my coach knows, like, I had this silhouette for it, like, and that's why I entered that category. And the feedback report from the judges was silhouette perfect for this category.
Yeah.
And I just thought, and that's why I don't listen to people.
It's just like a big middle finger to anybody that sort of said,
yeah.
Mate, we get that all the time as well. Like, from my guys, like my athletes that are trained, like, everybody comes in and be like, oh, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, you should be lifting heavier, you should be doing that. And it's like, listen, like, just shut the fuck up.
Yeah, just leave me alone.
Just leave my guys alone, right? And they just all they want to do is come in and train.
Yeah.
You know, and that's all you wanted to do.
Wanted to do at that point. Like, all I wanted to do was go in and train. I didn't want to engage in conversation. I knew I had X amount of minutes left to do on the Stairmaster after training and however many steps left.
Yeah.
And then people just think they can say what they want. And it's like, you don't understand the impact that has on people, because you go on then and you're thinking, are other people thinking the same thing? And I'm one of them people that doesn't really care what people think about me or what people say to me. But when you're that depleted, it does get to you.
I bet it does.
And it did get to me.
Yeah, I bet it does. I can imagine. So, changing the subject slightly more onto sort of like that part of the industry, just because, I mean, what's the sort of politics like within that part of it?
I think all the girls that I've met and spoke to have been the nicest group of girls that I could ever have imagined. Like, there's been girls who have reached out to me I've never spoke to before, and there's actually people there for you more than your mates, like, who are happier for your success.
That makes me really happy. That gives me sort of faith, because, you know, Instagram, TikTok, they're such toxic places. When you read comments, like, I hate, like, if I post something or I'm tagged in something or something, I sometimes, like, I'm going to turn my comments off.
Yeah.
Or, you know, you see somebody, like, they'll post a really good, like, informative post about something, and it'll just get ripped apart by people that don't know anything. And it's, I'm like, it can be quite a toxic industry.
I do think it is. There is certain parts of it that are toxic. There always will be in everything
there will.
that you do. But honestly, I went into it thinking, oh, it's going to be a bit bitchy.
That to be honest with you, that from an outsider, that's what both not like female and male. Like I'm like, because it's so physique. It is physique, isn't it? It's all about what you look like.
The thing is, I think people think bodybuilders are so full of themselves and self-centered. And I always think this when I post on Instagram, like my stage shots and things. I think people probably think, oh, she's really full of herself, but it's the complete opposite. We are the most insecure group of people that there possibly will be. Like, we pull ourselves apart probably more than the average human ever would. Like, I've come out of this and I've really struggled with food and things like that post show this second time, and like, I've mentally not been in a good place at all. And it feels like it's kind of normal, because of the amount of people who've reached out to me and said, I went through exactly the same thing post show. It's not a good feeling. You have a really bad relationship with like food and things like that. And it's like, we're all just messed up a little bit. But we're all like,
that's understandable, considering what you've put your body through and what, like, mentally what you've put yourself through. Because I suppose afterwards, when you've like that's the last show done, I'm now going to have 18 months off. Or not off, but I'm going to have 18 months to prep for the next show. You must be thinking, well, all that hard work was for those two sort of, like, how long are you on stage for?
Probably about 3 minutes.
So you're on stage.
22 weeks for 6 minutes.
Exactly, right. And now you're looking at 18 months, to go and do it all again. You're gonna have, like, you know, it's like the day after Boxing Day. Everybody's a bit like, oh, fucking hell. Do you know what I mean?
You do feel like that though. Like, you feel a little bit lost. You're like, well, what do I do now? And there's all this pressure on reversing properly, because you don't want to put too much fat on too quick.
Right.
So there's all that pressure going on in the back of your mind, and I didn't cope with that well.
Was there a pressure of, I look absolutely amazing right now, I don't want to go back?
I feel like I want to go back a little bit, like, in the back of my mind, because obviously you lose like your feminine side when you're on prep. Like, you do start losing your boobs, and like, you just trying to get as much muscle popping as possible. I'm not saying muscle is not feminine, because it is. I think absolutely. We all look great. Everyone who steps on stage is amazing. Listen, it's such an achievement.
There's the way that I look at, like, you know, everybody, the amount of people that I've had in my career as a coach, where we've started like resistance training, and they're like, this isn't going to make me put on too much muscle. And I'm like, listen, I've been doing this shit for like 15 years.
If there was a
I look like if
there was a hack to put on
quite
muscle
as easy.
Let me know what it is.
Exactly.
Because it's a hard graft, and people think, oh, I'm going to start weight training now, I'm going to put on so much muscle. No, it's so hard to build muscle. You've got to eat above your maintenance calories. You feel sick there was times in my off season where I'd go to bed eating 6 rice cakes. And that's a lot of food before you're about to close your eyes. And it's like getting all your food in your meals, you're full, you're uncomfortably full, but you know it's for a reason. So you know it's so worth it. And then to go to the complete opposite end of starving.
Yeah, it's a sport of extremes, isn't it?
Yeah, literally, it is one extreme to the other.
Yeah.
But it's the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my whole entire life.
Yeah.
And I would recommend it to anyone. But just be careful, because there is a lot of toxicness out there in ways.
Awesome. And I'll just put a little caveat onto that as well. In anything that you're going to do, whether it's physique or whether it's a performance-based thing that you're looking at doing, or even if it's just a case of wanting to lose, lose a little bit of weight or put on a little bit of muscle, whatever your goals are, like, make sure you're in the right state of mind and it's the right, like, time for you to start that journey. Because you get a lot of people that, oh, I'm going to start my fitness journey on Monday morning, and you're like, well, actually, this might not be the correct time for you to do it. Like a lot of the time, like, if work's stressful, or if you've got like a little something else going on in your life which is just getting in the way, don't put that extra pressure on yourself.
That's one thing, especially in prep, you can't get stressed out either. So you have to be in an environment, in a position where you're not going to get stressed out, because that's just going to send you the complete opposite direction. And I think as well, like, I think there's just so much pressure on, like, what you should look like nowadays. Like, you see my Instagram story the other day about a summer body that everyone likes to go on about. But no one cares.
What the fuck is a summer body?
What is a summer body?
Do you know what I mean? Like,
what is it? Like, people are like, oh, get shredded in 12 weeks. If you could get shredded in 12 weeks, do you not think I'd get shredded in 12 weeks? I was crying on the Stairmaster to get shredded. You don't know what shredding is.
It's absolutely insane when you see these, like, I'm going to go after other coaches now, but I don't give a fuck, right? You got like, you get, like, I once posted up, it was last year, I was like, you know what, I've put it on Insta, I was like, I'm going to do a 12-week challenge, because, there's so many people doing, all of our coaches are doing 12-week challenges, I'm going to do a 12-week challenge. I took it down, I was like, I'm not doing a fucking 12-week challenge, bollocks. Because I want to be honest with my people that are going to come to me, they'll come for a consultation, like, right, I'm going to start coaching, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to say, oh, 12 weeks, mate, we'll get you sorted, I'll get you whatever you want, whatever your goal is, what's that, 5% body fat, not a problem, mate, we'll get you there in 12 weeks. It's like, fuck
You'll be on my
mate, no chance.
Exactly,
exactly. It's absolute bollocks. So,
this is the thing, I think people need maintainable goals, because there's so many issues nowadays with, like, the body image, and everyone's expected to look a certain way. But all these people that you're thinking are looking at you, they're looking at themselves. They're more paranoid about what they look like. They don't care what you look like, because they're crying about what they look like.
And they're, very much in, especially ones that are in the public eye as well. They've got to maintain that level, and it's an awful lot of pressure. But that is the norm now. Like you said, everybody's expected to have a certain physique type, or, like for me as a coach, like, I've got a pretty average rig on me. I'm not, it looks like I train, but it also looks like I eat good food, and I do enjoy donuts. Do you know what I mean? And shit like that.
You've got to have in your life.
Balance. Exactly,
Because I think if you've got balance, you're never going to stop. Whereas, like, obviously prep, there is no balance, because you are literally, so you need to get in shape to be on stage. And it's not healthy what you have to do to get that lean.
Well, exactly. Say somebody looks at an image of you on stage, and they come to me and say, oh, I don't like that.
They should never aspire, unless you want to compete, never aspire to look like someone who steps on stage.
Exactly, because it's not sustainable, is it?
And it's not healthy for a long-term goal. It's definitely not.
No.
Because as well, like, a lot of women, they lose their periods and things like that. That's not normal behaviour, is it?
No, it's not.
It's not normal.
No, it's not. It's not that's not healthy. Like, from my point of view, and I might get some shit for this, I don't know, but, like, going through prep and stepping on stage, you're not healthy.
Oh no, you're not.
It's health and fitness industry. Yeah. But it's not. You're not particularly fit while you're doing it.
No.
Yeah. Because you're weaker.
You feel like you're gonna die.
And you're not exactly healthy.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Times when, like, you sit there on the sofa and you stand up, and like when, like, all the blood rushes to your head, and you go a bit like, oh, that's what it feels like. Like, it's the other day I went Alton Towers with my mate, and I was just thinking, I could have never have done this on prep.
Really?
Like, you don't have the energy to just do normal things. Like, there's times where I've just sat there during conversations and been like, can we just stop talking now? Like, can I just go and lie
down? Is that a
hint? No, I'm fine now. I feel great now.
Awesome, mate. Awesome. Well, I am going to stop it there, because we've been going for like almost 40 minutes. So this will be the longest podcast that I've done, right?
Jesus.
So
informative.
yes, yeah. So thanks for coming in, and thanks for sitting down with me and basically telling it how it is.
Yeah.
Because that's what I wanted, and one of the reasons that I thought you'd be a perfect person, because it was your first one, you're going to give a really honest opinion of what it's like to do, going through the prep and post and during, and so thanks